Jim can talk about it all with us. He joins us from Southern Ontario today. There he is. Hey, Jim, good to see you, my man. What's new in your world, brother?
Well, Rod, I got 2 kids back in university, and it's kind of quiet around the house and gives me a little extra time to watch football and just living the dream.
Attaboy. Good to hear it. Good to hear it. First, I can't open this up without just looking back at week 1. What were your biggest takeaways in the National Football League?
Well, I think the Steelers and Mike Tomlin have to feel very proud about themselves. A new era, Mitch Trubisky at quarterback, playing the Bengals. Minka Fitzpatrick was phenomenal. Alex Highsmith was great, and they lost TJ Watt and still won the game. I thought that was quite significant. I thought the Chiefs would be good, but even by Patrick Mahomes' standard, that was phenomenal. I saw the performance I expected out of Justin Herbert and the Chargers. We talked about potential growing pains with the Green Bay Packers and new receivers, and no Devontae Smith and Devontae Adams. And while we saw it, I think there was a lot of frustration from the coaching staff, from Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And then the days afterwards, talking about, hey, preaching patience and all that, almost preparing the Packer fans that this is going to be kind of rough the first few weeks of the season, while the receivers get to know Rodgers, and Rodgers almost trains the receivers for what he needs. But for the Vikings, that's a win they will take all the time, and a great way to start the season. And good on Saquon Barkley and Brian Daboll for the way they gutted out that win against the Titans. That was very impressive.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of Giants fans down here in South Florida, which would not surprise you, obviously. Old geezers, as they say, from the movie Slapshot, from the Northeast, living down here. No, but Chris, he's not an old geezer. He kicked my butt in the gym today. So, what do you? I'm loath to talk about a player's personal life, but now Gisele's kind of made it public. The Tom Brady Gisele situation. Tom didn't show any signs or rust. Let's talk about that. 19-3 win for Tampa Bay in primetime at Dallas on Sunday night, but it doesn't look like things are good between Tom and his bride, and that's very unfortunate.
It is. I mean, he did allude to it before, after he took the 11-day break, Rod. He kind of mentioned he's going through some things in his personal life. And, then it sort of slipped before Gisele spoke that she was kind of upset that after having this family meeting that he was going to retire from football after accomplishing everything beyond anything a quarterback or anyone in the NFL could have ever hoped for, deciding, no, actually, I'm going to play again. And, if you're someone who's been married to Tom for a long time, basically a single mother through football season. And when I say football season, that starts with mini camp in the spring, all through training camp in the summer. So there's really only a few months of the year where he's not in the facility doing stuff all the time, where he's actually with the family all the time. So the other 8-9 months of the year, it's all Gisele. And after all these years and all these accomplished, for him to turn back on his word after saying to Gisele and the kids that, hey, I'm going to retire, I can see why she's upset. I can totally get it. He said, wait, I thought you were done with this. Why are you going back? And, I personally, I think it's the drug that is the locker room in pro sports. You talk to any player beyond, the fame and fortune and the victories, that it's almost that safe space in the locker room, in the dressing room, where you're just with the guys and you're away from everything. It's hard to give that up. And I think for Tom, that's all he's known for so long. I think he's having trouble giving that up. And just being around the guys, the process of practicing, preparing for a game, and those moments in the locker room after a win where it's just you and the players and coaches, right now is a drug he can't quit.
I agree. And to be honest, you and I been around this game a long time, both media and sports. And when the partner says it's me or the job, it's a tale as old as time. And it doesn't usually end very nice, not with two happy people, that's for sure. No. But anyways, moving on. A lot of talk being made down here about the Patriots coming in here on Tuesday to get ready for the Dolphins in the heat. Did it help? I feel like the good days are over for the New England Patriots, Jim. I really do. They got embarrassed 20-3 by the Dolphins here on Sunday afternoon.
They did, but I would like to give a little credit to Mike McDaniel, the new coach, and the Dolphins, and what they did. They got Tyreek Hill in the offseason. It's an exciting team. It's setting up for a great game on Sunday, a week 2 matchup with the Dolphins and Ravens. And I was a Mike McDaniel fan as an assistant coach, an offensive coordinator in San Francisco. And you can see why he was so sought after and so well liked and so wanted in South Florida to take over the Dolphins. I think they're in good hands. Now, I'm not saying they're going to beat the Ravens, but I think what a lot of people around the NFL saw what Miami did to New England and how Mike McDaniels was so prepared against Bill Belichick. And a lot of people went, whoa, and start to pay attention, pay a little respect to the Dolphins and what they're all about and what Mike McDaniel's all about. I mean, that's the kind of debut that you want. I mean, there's a lot of new coaches in the NFL. Think about Nathaniel Hackett and what he's going through, having to say, oh, I blew it. I should have actually went for it instead of kicked the field goal. Well, no one's talking about that in Miami, about blowing anything. They're actually talking about how bright of a future there is with the Dolphins, what a great fit he is with the players they have, how the players are responding to him, and how this is going to be a fantastic matchup with the Dolphins and Ravens with two very talented teams in the weekend.
Well, I'm going to turn this over to the viewers in a second. They got a lot of questions for you, but this is my second year covering the NFL, being in the facilities, talking to the guys. And what I've realized, Jim, and you've been doing this way longer, it's really no different than the CFL or any of the other leagues that I covered, just to scale. Mountains become molehills in the NFL. And my point is, Lamar Jackson doesn't come to an agreement with the Ravens on the weekend, right? Going into the season. He's from here, Pompano Beach. And the Dolphins fans are already salivating over Lamar Jackson quarterbacking Miami next year. And here's Tua going, hello, I'm here. You wanted Deshaun Watson, you couldn't get him. We found out you wanted Tom Brady, you couldn't get him. I think Tua's got a massive chip on his shoulder. And for that reason, I think he's going to go into Baltimore and spank him with a lot of talent around him.
I mean, we saw what Geno Smith did with Seattle. A lot of people have written him off, and look at the performance he had with the Seahawks. And I mean, Tua was a fantastic NCAA quarterback. Let's not forget about his pedigree coming Alabama. Into the NFL. Yes. And absolutely. So let's give a little credit to the coaching staff of Mike McDaniel and how they're working with Tua, because some coaches work better with some quarterbacks and vice versa. And so far, we're seeing a good marriage between the two, and McDaniel and the coaching staff working to the strengths of Tua. So, yeah, I get what you're saying about Lamar Jackson, but it'll be interesting to see what happens if right after the season, if the Ravens, I mean, part of it is they're going to have to look at their cap in general. The Green Bay Packers blew their cap out of the water, making sure Aaron Rodgers was signed up, and they lost arguably the top 2 or 3 receiver in the league for cap purposes. So that's part of the agenda for the Ravens in the front office is doing the math. Okay, we will have to pay him this much for this month's money. Who are we going to lose? Because we're going to lose somebody as a cap casualty. There's no way around it when you pay someone that much money in the NFL.
Tank and Estevan says, can you please ask Jim about the Vikings? Can Kirk and Jefferson keep it up? And what does he think about the new look defense? We had Cynthia Freeland on last week from NFL Network. She said the numbers are saying the Vikings are a team that's going to surprise. I guess she's right. What are you seeing there?
What I'm seeing is how really special Justin Jefferson is a receiver. I mean, I always thought Kirk Cousins was a really competent professional NFL tier 2 quarterback. I'm not putting him in Patrick Mahomes category, but he's definitely he's got an arm and he can play. But Justin Jefferson is a game-changing receiver. And he's the kind of receiver that you have to game plan around. And we saw glimpses of that as when he was broken to the league. And now you're realizing through his work in the offseason, through his film work, through his study, through his relationship with Kirk Cousins, they've got an absolutely game-breaking receiver in Justin Jefferson in Minnesota. And yeah, the defense is better. Yeah, Kirk Cousins look really good. But I think anytime I'm playing against the Vikings, I'm like, what are we going to do? Like the Eagles have got to figure out a way to stop Justin Jefferson. And this is an interesting game for the Vikings and the Eagles going into week 2. And for the Vikings, if they get that ball to Justin Jefferson and let him do what he does, there's no reason why they can't beat the Eagles and be 2-0 to start the season. They're definitely good enough. But Jefferson, to me, is a special player. Sometimes maybe because he's in Minnesota, I don't know. He doesn't get talked about enough. But I think you're starting to see people around the league start to take notice of what a special player he is in his ability to get separation and catch balls. We saw this weekend, there's a lot of fundamentals that were missed in the NFL that maybe because of a lack of reps in the preseason and training camp, a lot of players didn't play much in the preseason or not at all. And there were some teams where there was blocking, tackling, catching the ball, kicking the ball. it was sloppy at times, but not with Justin Jefferson. He obviously did the work because I just thought he had a fabulous week, and I just think he's going to have a great year and end up being one of the top receivers in the NFL, not just the NFC.
184 yards in week 1. Tank. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Jennifer from the Four Seasons one. Go ahead, Jim. Finish that up.
I was just going to say, and that's just a taste of what's to come. I mean, he's going to be very special.
Jennifer from the Four Seasons says, your thoughts on the Thursday night matchup, Chargers-Chiefs.
Well, I'm really high on Justin Herbert, and I think the key to all of it is Khalil Mack. He was an absolute force of nature for the Chargers in week 1, a forced fumble, 3 sacks, and, played like the Khalil Mack. As a Raiders fan, it pains me to say this, that, that's when he's with the Raiders. But he's a special player. And if you can't get pressure on Patrick Mahomes and you can't get him out of his comfort zone, you see what happens. I mean, he's still got Travis Kelce. He's still got a feel for the game. And Patrick Mahomes has an ability to throw balls. Technically, you shouldn't throw, like off your back foot, off balance, slinging it like a shortstop trying to fling it to first base, but it's always on target. So, and I think for Andy Reid and the Chiefs, they realize that the Chargers are going to be one of those teams they're going to have to beat in their division. But finding a way to deal with Khalil Mack is going to be a challenge. I mean, Justin Herbert's going to do what Justin Herbert does. He's going to throw 280, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's what he does every week. But trying to find a way to game plan and scheme for Khalil Mack is going to be a big challenge for the Chiefs. And that's, to me, that's the key to the game.
Can I ask you this? My cousin Christine in Medicine Hat says one word: Cards. They had their doors blown off by Kansas City. And I wonder how much of this is just overreaction because it is only week 1. Like, or are they that bad?
No, I think what people aren't giving enough news about, talking about enough with the Cardinals is just how injured they were going into week 1 and how many key players on both sides of the ball were missing and not able to play. And right now in the NFL, you can't miss that many key players because the margin for error is so slim and expect to be competitive, let alone against really, really good teams. I think the Cardinals, when they're healthy, I'd like to see what they do for a good 2-3 game stretch. I think there is a lot of talent there and a lot of potential there. But when you're missing that many players with injury at key positions on both sides of the ball, and you're playing a team like the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes is playing like that, what are you going to do? I don't think there's many teams in the NFL, if they're banged up, are going to do well against the Chiefs of Patrick Mahomes when he's on his game. So I wouldn't be too hard on the Cards quite yet.
Last question. I think we got about, let's go 3 minutes. We have a lot of West Coast viewers in both BC and through Washington, Oregon, and they want to know your take on what went down on Monday Night Football. The Seahawks, of course, upsetting the Denver Broncos 17-16, upsetting them based on what the line was. Denver was favored by 6. What was your take on that wild Monday Night Football?
It should never have come to, do they kick a field goal or not? You don't fumble the ball twice, 3rd and 1 on the goal line. That can't happen in the NFL. You can do it once, but you can't do it twice. They fumbled twice, 3rd and 1 on the 1 yard line. That's the game right there. So Nathaniel Hackett should have been in the position. Then, rookie coach, first game, a little overwhelmed. You try a 64-yard field goal at altitude in Denver. You don't do it at sea level in Seattle in your opposing stadium. In Denver, that kick probably goes through. But what got me is 30-plus seconds of wasted time before they called the timeout. And you spent and moved heaven and earth to get Russell Wilson in the offseason and gave up a very good tight end, Noah Fant, and draft picks. Why not put it in his hands? That's why you got a player like that. You didn't want Drew Lockett with the ball in that position. You wanted Russell Wilson. So for Denver, that's one that's, for the players and the coaching staff, that may come down to the end of the season, whether or not they're a division winner or wild card, or they don't make the playoffs at all. And they're going to look back on that, and that's going to hurt because if they don't fumble twice, 3rd and 1 on the 1 yard line, and they actually let Russell Wilson do what he's paid to do and what he's capable of, maybe they win that game. But I think we should give some credit to Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. They were thoroughly prepared. Geno Smith looked good. The uniforms give me a headache, But good on Seattle and good on their fans. The 12th man was alive and well. And that was a great atmosphere for a football game, especially on Monday night.
In those cases, I call those uniforms their pajamas because that's what it looks like they're wearing. Yeah. Jim, as always, I enjoy our visits, brother. Keep on keeping on. We'll do it again soon.
Take care, guys.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.